Hi there, wig lover. This is Heather from CysterWigs.com, and today I'm bringing you a review of Jennifer, which is my most popular human hair wig on my site, at least as of right now, May 2014. This is by Jon Renau, and it comes in two different varieties. It comes in this version, which has classic Jon Renau coloring, or they also have the Renau exclusive line. And that line basically has some very interesting proprietary Jon Renau colors that are very, very natural and can be re-dyed if you have to. They've been processed a little bit differently. This has standard processing on it, but I will say that it feels so nice. This hair, it is Remy, and it just has a beautiful feel to it. I mean, it feels completely different than synthetic hair, but I mean, it's still very silky, very nice. Now, I've mentioned in other videos, the hair used for lines like Jon Renau, for the most part, Raquel Welch, and a bunch of others that sell high quality human hair wigs, they are Asian hair that's been processed to look like European hair. But Jon Renau's processing does a beautiful job of it. And I'm going to really zoom in here for a second to show you the strands, so I can also show you the color. The color on this is one that I've reviewed in the past, namely on the Drew that I did my test on. It's 42730, which is an industry standard color. It is a even blend of dark brown with strawberry blonde and medium natural auburn. So let me go ahead and zoom in here. Okay, and as always, this side of the room is a little bit more well lit because of the sunshine. So as you can see, look at all those tones. You get a lot more of that highlight, a lot more. I mean, and it's not just the coloring. The depth of the color is just much more intense with a human hair wig. Let me see if I can grab my Drew, because I brought it with me, than it is on the synthetic because of the kind of hair. So they're the exact same color. It's just the color here is much more natural looking and has a lot more of these very natural, beautiful little highlights that you can see throughout. I'm hoping you can pick that up. Whereas this has kind of a uniform shine to it. This is just really, really beautiful, very, very high quality, lots of depth to the color. And you can see how evenly blended it is here. You can pick up on the dark brown, the human hair version of 42730. You can see the 27 a little bit more pronounced, so there's a little bit more of that strawberry blonde in there. And then you can really see that medium auburn as well throughout. So all in all, it is a very pretty, very natural looking medium auburn shade. Very, very pretty. It's got just enough brown in it to make it look natural. Very, very pretty hair color. I'm just taking a Jon Renau comb to it right now. The hair on these human hair wigs will need to be trained, so it didn't come with the part one way or another. I just decided to part it on the side, so it's gonna want to flop in my face. But just like your natural hair, you're going to have to train it a little bit to get it where you want it. This is the style that it came with right out of the box. As you can see, it's not really much of a style, and that's okay. It's human hair. You're supposed to style it yourself. Another thing that I want to point out before I get into the specs of this particular wig is that the ends are razor cut and very fringy. So if the wig begins to show signs of wear at the very tips, take it to a stylist and see if that particular stylist can make it even one length at the bottom, and you'll be surprised at how far that goes to restoring the original quality of your wig. So with all of that being said, let me go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of Jennifer the cut. The Jennifer wig, like I said, is my most popular human hair wig. I think a lot of that has to do with the price. I mean, it's not as expensive as a longer wig such as Blake, for instance. And on top of that, it's a very manageable length. It's still long enough, it's a mid-length, but it's still long enough that you can have it cut if you like, and you can keep having it cut until you're ready to toss it, which is kind of nice. You can't always do that with synthetics because synthetics do not react to cutting the same way that human hair does. Jennifer is a lightweight wig that has a Jon Renau smart lace front, a fully hand-tied monofilament top, and only weighs 4.6 ounces, which is very light for a human hair wig. The bang isn't really a bang, it's meant to be swept off to the side. It's 9.5 inches here in the front. The layer from the crown down is also 9.75 inches, as you can see right here. And then the sides are 11 inches, and the back at the nape, so the distance from the bottom of the wig down, is going to be 10.75 inches, which puts this squarely in the mid-length category. And I'll push it back so you can see what that looks like. But like I said, it gives you enough to work with that if you wanted to have this cut into a bob, or if you wanted this to be something a little bit more dramatic, like a very graduated sort of stylized cut, you could. It definitely gives you enough material to work with. And like I said, the feel of this Jon Renau hair is very, very nice. It is definitely Remy quality, and you can tell when you run your fingers through it. Non-Remy hair has a much, it has a coarser feel to it. Whereas this feels just very, very beautiful. And as you can see, it's got a nice natural shine to it. One thing that I would recommend that I use a lot is argan oil. Jon Renau makes a really beautiful argan oil shampoo and conditioner and detangler line specifically for these Jon Renau human hair wigs. So I recommend that as first line defense if you want to buy stuff that's going to restore the oil and help keep it from drying out, because that's the big problem with human hair wigs. Human hair wigs, as opposed to synthetics, will dry out. You know, just like leather needs to be polished once in a while because it will totally dry out and crack. Human hair is a similar material. It's, you know, keratin, it's proteins. So without that natural oil that's created by your scalp, the hair will frizz out and it will lose its luster, and eventually it will just get all kinds of split ends and look bad. So you want to do your best to make sure that you're not using harsh chemical products. Do not use you know, off the shelf shampoo and conditioner. You know, no herbal essences, no Pantene. I had somebody send me an email about Pantene and I felt really bad after I sent them a reply because I felt like I was doing one of these things, but like, please don't do that to your human hair wigs. If you're spending $1,000 on a wig or more, you know, or if you're spending more than 500 bucks on a wig, make sure that you have the right products to make sure that your investment lasts a long time, because these can last a long time, but you have to be careful with them. Just because it's human hair does not mean that you can treat it like your bio hair, because it doesn't have the benefit of regenerating and growing out of your scalp, and you know, you can't just replace it for free with time. You know, you have to pay to replace it. And on top of that, that oil, you know, I keep mentioning that oil. That's a huge deal with these human hair wigs, because when the hair grows naturally out of your scalp, you can brush it and the brushing redistributes that oil that grows out of your scalp all over the hair to keep it shiny and healthy and vibrant. And if you are wearing a wig, that wig never gets that benefit of the natural oils generated by your scalp. So you have to use something that's going to kind of replace that oil, and that's why I really like argan oil products. Another thing that might work really well is Envy's Renew and Repair. I know I mentioned that frequently, but it's one of those products that, you know, the packaging and the marketing is pretty lackluster, but the product itself works very, very well. And similarly, Jon Renau's Luxury Argan Oil Shampoo and Conditioner will work very, very well for these type of wigs. Similarly, try to refrain from using regular hair products in general. You know, you want to make sure when you wear wigs that you're dedicated to wearing products that also are made specifically for this kind of hair, because even though it does come from a human, it has different needs. You know, you wouldn't give cut roses Miracle Grow. It doesn't have the same effect. So if you need an analogy, that's basically the same thing. Think of these as cut flowers. You know, if you want them to last a little bit longer than normal, you're gonna have to do something to them to keep them that way. You can't just, you know, water them and hope for the best. That's a very bad analogy, but I'm doing my best. I'm grasping at straws, I think. So let's get back to this. Here's what Jennifer looks like from the side. She's symmetrically cut all the way around, and when she comes out of the box, she does have this little loop, 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 this little flip inward. You're definitely going to want to restyle it though, because I basically think that this is just put in there for ease of packaging, so they can get it into the wig box. Here's what the back looks like, and I'm going to shake this a little bit so you can see how it moves. It moves much differently than synthetic hair because it's got a little bit more weight to it. And here's this side. So very nice little wig, very comfortable on. The lace front is also very nice. I have a fully intact hairline and my hair color is much darker than this, and so because of that it's difficult for me to find a way to get this on here where the wig cap doesn't show through. But if you order a wig that's close to your natural hair color or you don't have an intact hairline, that will not be an issue. So let me go ahead and take this off so you can see the cap construction. I definitely recommend Jon Renau's wig caps for these kind of wigs. They've got a really nice thick band here in the front, and so that's really, really going to help a long way to concealing that hairline. The cap construction on Jennifer is magnificent, and I don't use that word lightly. Lots of nice soft felt right here around the monofilament top, and this is a relatively thick band of soft felt. You don't really get that with the synthetics. Got a little bit of a gel grip here, right where the lace front meets the mono top. The rest of the cap is hand tied, so very, very well done. And even though it's hand tied, it's not particularly scratchy. It has a very nice feel to it. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily smooth or soft, but it's definitely not gonna make you itch. It's very, very comfortable here. You've got soft felt right here on the ear tabs, as well as soft felt here at the nape, and it is adjustable with these Velcro tabs. I find this to be a really comfortable wig on, and I have a relatively large head, as I've mentioned before. It's 23.5 inches, so if you've got a larger head similar to that, then you're probably going to enjoy the fit of these wigs as well. And this will fit smaller head sizes, obviously, quite well. It can be taken in quite a bit in the back. And so here is up close and personal with the hair fibers. So you can take a look at that. And you can see what I meant, that it's fringy at the bottom. It is cut unevenly. And if that bugs you, or if you find that that's making the wear a little bit more intense on the wig, just take it to a hairstylist and have them make it an even cut all the way around. Or at least the bottoms an even cut. And that should help a little bit. You may even want to wait until you start to see the first appearance of split ends before you start doing that. Really, it's up to you. But just a very pretty wig, and that color is one of my favorites. And again, I'm going to hold it up against this Drew. Now, mind you, this Drew has been worn a lot. As I mentioned in previous videos, it's one of my personal wigs. And so don't compare the quality of the fiber so much as the way that the color presents the difference between the human hair for 2730 and the synthetic for 2730, because even in the non-heat friendly synthetics, it looks very similar to this. And you can see what I mean right away. And this one's even closer to the window, so it's getting more light on it. And even still, the highlighting and that kind of, I hate to use prismatic, but you know what I mean. It's a very dynamic presentation of the color, because human hair is more than just one solid strand tube of hair. It's made of little scales, and underneath those scales you have multiple layers of keratin. And so the reason why this color is so much more dynamic and has just a more natural highlighting presentation is because of the fact that there's just more surface area and there's just more to the hair for light to reflect off of when you buy human hair. So I'm going to go ahead and put Jennifer back on so that way you can see that. Now the only tricky part with this wig that I found was, again, my hairline is so much darker than this hair color. But there are a couple of tricks that you can employ to make that kind of a non-issue. So let me get this on here. I'll show you the coverage on the side. It's pretty darn good. Just a little bit of my bio hair is popping out here, but it's not that big a deal. Normally I wouldn't, if I were going to buy a human hair wig, I would get one that's either closer to my bio hair shade, or I would dye my bio hair. And if you only want to dye that one little area of your bio hair, especially if you're going from a lighter color to a darker one, Just for Men works really well because you can just brush it on periodically whenever you need to, and you don't have to dye your whole head. That's especially good if you have like a sensitive scalp or something like that, and all you really honestly want to have exposed is that little area on the side. That stuff works really well. Now it doesn't really help you out if you're trying to go from, you know, darker colored bio hair to lighter, because you're going to have to get something with a little bit of lift in it, which means you're going to have to dye it like with developer and the whole shebang. So just a little trick there though for people who are trying to go, like say you've got gray hair and you're trying to go into like a brown wig. That might help out a little bit. So one thing that you could try doing is zigzag parting, and you'll see that when you order this wig that it will probably come with a zigzag part. I'm not going to go through the trouble of doing that in this video, but if you do that, that helps obscure the hairline a little bit. You could part it off to the side, and as you can see, it becomes harder to see that band when you part it to the side, and that's actually a really, really easy fix. And that's not something that's wrong with the wig, that's something that has to do with the cap, which is right up here, and the fact that my bio hair is darker. Here is the lace front. Gonna zoom in on that. That's that lace front. And here is the mono top. I think that the knotting is very well done here. I will say that it's got a really nice hairline to it. I am one of those people that, you know, I look for the knotting. I do pay attention to the knotting. But the thing that drives me crazy is when the mono top lace front is too thick. I don't want a lace front that just looks like a continuation of the mono top. If I wanted that, I would just stick to a mono top wig. That's just my personal preference. Everybody's a little different. So I like it when the lace front is like this, because my natural hairline does something similar. And I mean, my hairline is completely intact, so it's a good point of reference. Like, you know, it's got a little hairs here and there, and then boom, you know, the hair actually starts. And so you'll get that with this too, and I'll show this to you again really close up, where it's got a little bit of contour to it, which is great, but it's also a little bit lighter right here at the front, and then heavier in the back. You can trim this if you don't like that to be so light in the very, very front. And in fact, it gives you about, I want to say like 1/4 of an inch to begin with that you can work with. But, you know, don't be afraid to you know, if you don't want to customize this, take it to a wig store, see if they will. But I mean, these human hair wigs were made to be customized. They were made for you to take it home and make it your own. So if that means adjusting the lace front and trimming it back to the point where it will work for you, then do so. If it means having it cut so that this is all the same length at the bottom, do so. If you have an elite wig and you want to get some highlights put in it, go for it, you know? Just make sure you take it to a salon and use salon grade products on it under the careful eye of someone that knows what they're doing. Please do not attempt to do an at-home dye kit on one of these wigs, because you will destroy it. You know, that stuff's harsh enough on your bio hair. It's definitely going to be harsh on one of these because they've already been chemically treated for the most part. So be careful with that. So okay, enough of these sermons. This has been a review of Jennifer, which is a very beautiful hand-tied wig from Jon Renau. It's very stretchy, very comfortable, and very beautiful with beautiful tones and highlights. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you have a great day. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, and by the way, all of my Jon Renau human hair wigs are going to be 40% off until the end of July. So you have until July 31st to take advantage of the sale. That's huge, huge, huge savings on these Jon Renau human hair wigs. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.